Hello and welcome. This is Warhammer with Sheeb, bringing you another battle report. This time, I've got a doubles game, and we've been practicing for an upcoming tournament in Edmonton, and it's a 2,400 point total combined between the two generals. Each has their own 1,200 point army. And so I decided to bring my Skaven because I've been painting them up and I really want to start playing with my rats. And so I brought them. Opposing the rats and the wood elves are the Chaos Dwarfs and the Empire. Now, I was really hoping I could play a dwarf player. I guess I'll have to settle for a Chaos Dwarf player for Malorian's challenge. I actually brought my friend Ryan over who had his dwarves. I wasn't thinking, we were getting caught up in the moment when we were picking teams and allies and rolling off who was playing who. I thought for sure I'd probably get matched up with my friend Ryan, who is a dwarf player, but oh well, that's okay. I actually didn't really remember it until I started taking pictures of this battle report, so I apologize, but hopefully Malorian will still forgive me and say Chaos Dwarves are still dwarves, since they're not in the rules, in the big red rule book. So anyways, here's deployment. I have 39 slaves, 39 slaves, 39 slaves, 21 clan rats, and here's BSB, Plague Priest, and Engineer. Catapult, Plague Claw Catapult, 2 Warp Lightning Cannons. He's got a unit of Glade Guard over here, Hagbane Bows, Poison Wind Mortar. And opposing me is a unit of 10 Knights. We have a unit of about 20 or so Hobgoblins. Then we have a big blunderbuss unit of these Chaos Dwarves who shoot and hit like a ton of bricks. Behind them we have another block of 20 Empire Halberdiers or Swordsmen. I forget, but we'll see them close up. 2 cannons and a Hell Cannon, and to his flank, a steam tank. Now the scenario we did up is we decided to play scenario number 1 for the tournament that we're going to, and that had the middle third of our deployment zone as being empty. We weren't allowed to deploy in it. So I deploy on this side. They both deploy in one deployment zone for having a few unit size surface area taken up as and I have a lot of slaves. Here we have Sisters of the Thorn, Wild Riders, 3 Treekin, unit of like 10 or 11 Glade Guard with Hagbane Bows. He's got his General and his Sorceress in there as well. And he also has ambushing Glade Riders, and I have 2 units of ambushing Gutter Runners. So turn 1, they win. He has his Way Watchers in the woods. He tries to shoot them with a cannon and some Ruby Rings of Ruin and Fireball, but nothing happens. They managed to get a wound through on my Plague Claw Catapult from one of their cannons. That drifted off this way, so it's good for me. Lost a Way Watcher in the woods. From all of the shooting, I think we consider ourselves pretty good. They were hitting on 7s. So they move up pretty aggressively. Hobgoblins up here. Units sort of turned a little bit to get around this statue. And then we start shooting at them, and we do a lot of damage. I managed to kill off a cannon, put a wound on the Hell Cannon with some lightning cannons. First one misfired, but didn't blow up or anything like that. Second one managed to kill a cannon. That was pretty good. Shot the Doom Rocket. Managed to take out a bunch of... there's the Engineer. A bunch of Hobgoblins. Poison Wind Mortar launched, and I think maybe killed a few of these Blunderbuss guys. And that was pretty much their turn. You notice that my Wood Elf partner is totally on the right side, and I'm kind of left all alone. And they make advantage of that and see that, and they charge up as quick as possible. I did move my Engineer up and out of the unit just a little bit so I can get a better shot with my Doom Rocket. And it meant that they had to make a long charge, like a 10 or 11, but with Swift Stride, they make it. Oh, actually, I don't know if they had Swift Stride, but anyways, they made it. And they're in combat, and there's just a little shimmy of them. Way Watchers move the forest, and then we have a unit that's already engaged in us on top of turn 2. One of my cannons was shot off by their cannon. Probably the Steam Tank. Steam Tank shoots at these guys, manages to do the Steam template. Wound 2, but or hit 2, failed to wound though. Engineer died, they overran, and the way that they were situated because of this hill, they actually overran to the Glade Guard, and the slaves are not in combat, even though it looks like they are. Gutter Runners come on, one team, and they shoot some pot shots at the Hell Cannon. The Glade Riders arrive and ambush, put some more shots on this cannon, and this looks like they are sword and board infantry, who turn to face them in the following turn. In spells, all that really matters is we got off harmonic convergence, which is quite useful. We put a wound on, more mortar shots on the middle of that blunderbuss unit. Glade Guard absolutely get destroyed by the knights, and they reform to get a nice flank charge on my slaves. Okay, and there we have the sisters looking up, throwing their spears at the steam tank. It's wounding itself more than we're causing wounds to it, but with 10 wounds, like, it's almost unfair at this size of points. There they go, turn to face those wild riders. Sorry, not wild riders, glade riders, who could easily dance around them, so we're not too worried. And here we have the unit of Chaos Dwarves. They're just marching up to get into combat with those slaves. In Magic, he manages to get off, I think, Ruby Ring, or then also he uses a fire spell from his Fire Wizard, and manages to delete the Wild Rider or the Glade Riders, so that was unfortunate. But at least they're facing the wrong way. But that was the whole strategy behind this unit back here, was to have their 2 generals inside there, and their Wizard Caster. And if anything tried to go near the War Machines, they just reform and then Magic Missile off, which was not a really bad strategy. And actually, I took pointers from them and adapted my list for the upcoming tournament to actually do something very similar with my Wizard bunker back here, but with Warp Lightning and the Condenser. So we figured that was more profitable than a Plague Priest who had the Plagues Vermintide, which I couldn't use with him being placed back here, and Cloud of Corruption, which is not good when I'm surrounded by my own units. So pretty much all my Plague spells and my Plague Priest were out of the game. He hits with the Warp Lightning Cannon, only causes 1 wound. I'm pretty happy about that. These Skaven slaves reform and face this after being charged in their flank, so they reform and face. They're steadfast, so they're still there. Second Gutter Runner unit comes on the bottom of turn 2. Some pot shots at those Hobgoblins. And there's a look at how combat went. Of course, the slaves do terrible. Way Watchers leave the tower and realize they've got to kill some War Machines. If these Gutter Runners got to kill some War Machines too. And they do in their shooting phase. We actually, with 12 shots, this is phenomenal rolling on my part. Very memorable part of the game. 12 multi-shots into that Hell Cannon. They have slings, and they are poison. And out of 12, I rolled 7 6s. There's just not enough ward saves you can make and armor saves you can make, so the Hell Cannon dies. And we were quite happy. And at that point, we thought we still had a pretty good chance at this game. But it goes downhill real quick. Spoilers. We managed to kill a few knights, which was just phenomenal. These slaves are even holding on. Remember, this is the back rank now. They're facing this way. I debated about sending this guy in just for some sort of combat res, but decided against it. It's probably better just to shoot with that Poison Wind Mortar. These blunderbuss guys take a huge charge to the flank of this slave unit, and that's pretty much bye-bye for them. I'm looking at my Wood Elf opponent, might have been. He's done more things for them than for me. But here we have the sisters toying around with the steam tank, kind of occupying it. Wild Riders are like, hey, we don't need to be over here. Let's go over here because we need help because his entire army is over here. And I don't know why he deployed so much over here. Probably because they didn't fit. I can't blame him. But there's his forest that he placed down in his Treekin. It's going to take a long time to get into combat. So those slaves explode. Managed to kill off a few of these guys, which is pretty cool. Here we are doing panic checks for the other slave blocks, but they're okay. Reforms the blunderbuss, reforms the knights, and now that other cannon is gone. I just have my Plague Claw Catapult, which does only have 1 wound left as well. This unit, it's not looking too good. So in my turn, I'm like, I could cast Vermintide, because nothing's in front of me now. But it gets dispelled, I think. Rolling really bad. And here we go, Plague Claw Catapult, shoots, manages to kill a guy. They take a panic, but they pass. I don't know why this is 100 points and the lightning cannons are worth 90, but I guess it has its uses on a low leadership army. But it really didn't do too much this whole game. And I guess with being a large template like that, the odds of hitting are a lot better. But I do go ahead and make my charge into these knights. charge the slaves into those guys, and then I march up, so free up a long Wild Rider charge in the flank should these slaves stick around. So there we go, some close-ups. And in combat, everything failed. The guys were kind of ragging on me that I didn't have a flail on my Plague Priest. That would have really helped. But I just didn't have the points. If I were to give the Plague Priest a flail, I would have had to drop the Engineer with the Doom Rocket or the BSB. So it was a sacrifice that wasn't willing to make. And I really didn't want to get him into combat anyway, but well, it was starting to be fun at that point. We were just joking around. So there they are, overrunning slaves. I think they do a pretty good job. On their turn, the Wild Riders get caught. The steam tank makes a long charge over top of that fence, taking dangerous terrain, making it, and crashes into the Wild Riders. Phenomenal. But that's going to foil our plans, and that was my relief force. And then we have the sword and board guys turning to face the gutter runners and the way watchers, and yeah, Wild Riders hit like a ton of bricks, but a steam tank, it's like a train. Alright, so we have the hobgoblins who went into the side of the slaves, and the slaves actually win and overrun, and so now they're facing like that. And these gutter runners have no idea what they're going to do now, and they stick around in combat, actually rolling double ones and being insanely courageous. Oh, I lied. They exploded. They must have been very courageous last turn. And with the explode, they actually kill four or five clan rats up here, slaves up here, a couple more from his unit, and I think the knights managed to weather that storm all right. So in the magic phase, in our turn, we cast Ice Shard Blizzard, an attempt to Harmonic Convergence, probably attempted Curse of Enter here too, to no avail. No spells really went off or took it into effect. Now I got a runners march up here to get some slingshots at these guys. Actually, I think I was trying to kill the cannon, which I did kill the cannon with my other gutter runners, and they are just the stars. Every time I bring gutter runners, I have never been dissatisfied or surprised about what they can do with their poison slings. Just phenomenal. So I managed to reform and face the oncoming blunderbuss, and in their turn he charges me. He charges wide, so he's super confident, but when you got a 3-up armor save, yeah, I would be too. And the knights move over here. So now my entire Skaven force has just been completely obliterated, and we just have my gutter runners hiding behind that tower up there. And this is pretty much the end of the turn. Sisters come and throw some more spears at this unit, trying to cause a panic test. It does. And the Way Watchers shoot, and the gutter runners, I think, shoot at them too, and not enough to cause it to panic and run off the board. That was our last hope. And look at these Treekin. Did nothing all game. His general's out here, and his Glade Guard are kind of like reforming in the forest. And it's a crushing victory for our opponents. We also, the scenario had table quarters, where if you controlled a table quarter, except there were 6 of them, so the board was split into 2 feet by 2 feet sections, and if we were contesting it, you don't get any extra victory points. I don't think we got like maybe 1-2 table quarters, this one and this one, but everything else was contested, and they beat us by such a sizable victory that it wasn't really worth adding up all the battle points. Well, there you have it. There's a dwarf battle report for you, mixed with Empire and some Wood Elves with the new units. We'll keep you posted with how the tournament goes on this weekend. Thanks for watching.